If you think that you have a boxer's fracture or a boxer's knuckle, you need to go to the doctor and get yourself an x-ray and get yourself a professional opinion. Because honestly, there's really just too many things that can go wrong when you have an injury like this in your hand. There's just too many moving parts, and you don't want to end up having, what's called a claw hand, or, not being able to fully make a fist, or, have full function of your hand. So, make sure that you get yourself into the doctor. It's really important. Alright, so if you damage your first or second metacarpal, usually you will require surgery. If you damage your third or your fourth metacarpal, then sometimes you can get away without having surgery. I think that the pinky can have the most, what they call a degree of angulation. And I think it can have like 15 or 20% like angulation. And so I'm not sure if you can see the click there, but that will likely be permanent. Also, just a note, a boxer's knuckle is worse than a boxer's fracture, actually fracturing one of the metacarpals, because usually when you have a boxer's knuckle, that generally means that you're going to have damage to the ligaments, which requires surgery. Pretty much 9 times out of 10, if you're damaging the ligaments and stuff like that, I believe that it's going to require surgery. Once you have your hand wrapped up, it should take about 6 to 8 weeks inside of the cast or splint, and then it should take another like 6 weeks of just moving your hand and stretching it out until you finally get back to somewhat normal strength. Alright, so after you get your hand out of your cast and you start to move your hand around, if you can't straighten your fingers all the way like this and then also like this, then that is an indication that you have damage to your ligaments, and that actually means that you might end up with what's called clawed hand and always have your fingers slightly bent at all times and not be able to straighten them all the way. Alright, so now I'm going to show you guys the exercises that I use to get my hand back into shape. And so you're going to want to do these in sets of 10. First up, we have wrist rotations. And 1, and reverse. And remember to make sure that you're going as far as you can, and it might be a little bit painful at first, but you're stretching your wrist out, and that's what it's supposed to feel like. It's supposed to kind of hurt, and it'll get better over time. Alright, next up we've got this guy. I'm not really sure what you want to call that. Try to go all the way flat, and then squeeze all the way up and squeeze really hard, and all the way flat and squeeze really hard, all the way flat, squeeze really hard, all the way flat and squeeze really hard. Alright, and 10 times. Alright. Alright, next what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to hold out your hand and take your other hand and you're going to want to hold back 4 fingers and then use your other finger and stretch it as far as you can. 4. Alright. Go all the way down. And this one, it really hurts when you first get started out, and you know, eventually it's gonna feel really good, and it's gonna help a lot at strengthening out your hand right at first when you're really weak. It also these also help with your finger movement, and you know, you want to be doing them with your right and your you know, left hand too. Okay, so I'm going to show you the next one real quick. You just put your finger to the your thumb to the tip of the finger, and then slide it all the way down to the tip of the finger, and slide it all the way down to the tip of the finger, slide it all the way down. All right, and then, so you're going to want to do that 10 times. Alright, and remember, you can do it with both hands too. Okay, and that will help you with your you know, dexterity and the movement of your hand as well. And then once your hand starts to get stronger, you can then choose to, you know, get some different equipment that can help in you know, further strengthening out your hand. And so this is a power ball, and it is good for, you know, like I said, the wrist is important. It's good for strengthening out the wrist, and you know, it actually, you know, strengthens your whole hand, the wrist, your arm, your forearm, and your shoulder. Believe it or not, you know, once you get this thing spinning up to like, I think it's like 15,000 RPM or something like that, it's supposed to weigh like I think this one is either like 40 or 45 pounds or something like that. So I'll show you how this works. You go ahead and pull the pull cord here. And then once it gets spinning, you go ahead and keep it spinning and get it going faster and faster and faster. You can do it backwards and forwards. Switch hands. Anyways, so this is a pretty cool toy. It's been pretty fun to play around with, and oh my goodness, it helped out just a ton. Next up, we have these grip masters from prohands.net, and this one is a 3-pound and this one is a 5-pound, and they're actually I just found out 3 exercises that you can do with this. So you go ahead and you line the groove up here, and then so the first one you can do is you can overhang your fingers, and then you know, strengthen them out. The next one that you can do is you leave it again in here, in your thumb, and then you use your fingertips and then the hardest one I just found out how to do. You actually use the tip of your thumb and then your fingertips. Alright, so I just wanted you guys to know that it's been about 9 months since I, got my boxer's fracture, and, maybe I'll make some more videos in the future, showing, how much you can rehabilitate yourself, and come back from a boxer's fracture. But anyways, that's it for now, guys. So don't forget to thumbs up, thumbs down, subscribe, leave a comment.